Hi, welcome to All American Tractor Works. I'm Greg Mipps. We're back with our 1953 International Super H. I managed to get the bottom counter shaft out and I took and degreased the entire transmission. It was quite the task. The oil in it, like I had said before, is about the consistency of maybe pudding or molasses. I had to take and completely degrease it, scrape all of that out of there. Wash it all down with basically gasoline to dissolve all that. And then I took it out on my engine lift and I took and pressure washed it. I did find some chips in the bottom from gears, not uncommon in a tractor of this age, and it wasn't very bad. It's not like I was pulling out handfuls. If you get something like that, you have big problems. I basically just got some little spatterings of it here and there, which was the reason why I took and washed the whole carcass out. Now it's fairly clean. I still have to go through. I'm going to have to do some detail work on it to get it where I would like it to be. But right now, as you can see, it's pretty clean inside. It's definitely all of the goop is gone. Everything is completely out of it at this point. I've actually already started to clean up the counter shafts and all the other gears that go back in here. So what we'll do is we'll get those all cleaned up. We'll get new seals, new gaskets ordered, and we'll start to put this back together. I'm Greg Mipps. We're back here with our 1953 Farmall Super H. I've done some work since we last were together. I've taken and completely detailed the whole transmission at this point. I've cleaned all of the gasket surfaces, both on the top, the sides, all the interior surfaces that we have any bearings that press into. All of that has been cleaned out at this point. The last thing that we have to do to get this ready to start putting stuff back into it, and we're going to start doing that today, is I need to chase all of my holes with a tap. So I clean them out. I want all of my connection points to be nice and clean. There's nothing more frustrating than starting to put something back together and you get a bolt in a hole about a quarter of the way and it jams up on you because there's a bunch of gook that's been stuck in there. So we'll go ahead, we'll clean all that out, we'll chase those holes out. I do have to take and remove these seals that are on the side here. There's a set here, there's a set here. We'll pull those out. Once those are out, that's the last thing we need to do other than put the new seals in. But we will start putting things back together at that point and start going in the direction we've been talking about for episodes now. We're finally at that point. We're going to start getting this put back together. So let's get to work. So I'm basically running tap, as I said, through each one of these holes, making sure that they're nice and clean, making sure that I have the right size tap. Do not grab the wrong size tap. And just chasing them through. This should go in pretty easy. You're just looking to clean out any junk that might be sitting in there that might have settled in the holes. Like I said before, when we start putting this back together, we want our bolts to go in nice and easy. You don't want to get jammed up on anything that might have been stuck in there. So I will go through and I'll chase every single one of these holes on this. I'll blow them out with compressed air. And if I have any oil in them, I'm going to take probably a Q-tip with a little bit of mineral spirits on it. We'll clean it out with the Q-tip, make sure it's good and clean, blow them all out with compressed air, and we'll be good to go. So I need to remove the seals that are on each side of this. This is where our clutch and brake pedals go through. There is a little washer that sits on the outside, so I got to take and knock that out first. And I'm just going to take, and with a punch from the inside here, I'm just going to take and put it right on the very edge and just give it a little tap, if I can catch that edge. Oh, it fell out on me. Excellent. Didn't take much at all. So there's a little washer that comes out of there. That will expose the seal. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I cheated. I took out the other seal first just to see what would be involved. It's not easy to do. You're going to end up destroying these seals. That often happens when it's a blind seal that you're removing. There's no way to get behind it to drive it out to salvage it at all. They're old. I intended to replace them anyhow. but getting them out is not going to be easy, so you're going to have to destroy it. You do want to be careful not to destroy any of the casting and machining that's been done in there. It'll help not leak in the future. So what I'm using is just a pointed chisel here that I'm just going to get into it and just see if I can pull it right out. Let's see how easy or not easy this one goes. Let me see if I can drive it out from the inside at all. The problem is it's awful compact in here. And of course, all of the punches that I have are either too short or too long. I don't have one that's like the ideal length, but let's see if I can get it with this one. I might be able to grab it. Let's see what we can do. That's not going to work. Let's see if I can get this little one in here to do it. No, we're going to have to go from the outside. I think it's the only way I'm going to get it out of there. Let me just see if I can just tap right through it and see if I can get it out. It, of course, is not going to be any easier than the other side was. Let me try going from the inside again. You kind of have to kind of work at this. Again, it's like everything else that we've encountered, taking stuff apart, be patient, try not to do anything that's going to make any permanent damage. Okay, all I did was punch through the side, which isn't really going to help me. So I collapse it. You can see it starting to collapse on the inside, but there's just no way to do it without destroying it. Not everything on a tractor comes apart easily. Case in point. This one's actually going to come a little easier than the other side did, which I'll take it, because the other side I wrestled with for quite some time. It's like I get it to a point and it stops. Definitely is fighting, no doubt about that. But this is the reality of it. You know, sometimes this is the stuff that you run into. It's not always just knock it out. It's simple, move on with the next thing. What I'm doing is basically collapsing the seal inward on itself. It's starting to come. So is it next Christmas. There we go. That actually came out easier than the other side did, but as you can see, it still tends to be a wrestling match sometimes. Both seals are out. All I'll do now is I'll take and clean these holes up real good. The good news is that's the last thing that needs to come out of this. We're all done taking stuff apart. We'll get this clean. We'll start putting stuff back in. The seals are out. I've cleaned the holes out. There was a lot of stuff packed in there where the washers were. It's nice and clean. Got the new seal here. As you can see, it's thinner than the ones that were in there. You can take and put probably a double seal in here. I think it might fit. It was a single lip seal that was in there. But to put this in, I'm just going to take a little bit of grease on my finger. And I'm just going to lubricate around the edge here, just so it helps with sliding that seal in. And it goes with the face in. A lot of times when you put seals in, the face will be sticking out like this. When I pulled the old seals out, the face was sticking in, thus it had the washer protecting this other side on it. So I'm going to put this seal back in the way I took the old one out. So I'm just going to take and set it in here into the hole real good, getting it ready to go. So I've got my seal in here. I've pushed it in as hard as I can by hand. I've got a socket that's just about the same size, a little bit smaller. When you put a seal in with the face in, this is the problem with that, is you really don't have anything solid to hit against. So I'm hoping that this socket will just catch the outside edge and won't damage the seal as I put in. I'm just using a dead blow to tap it in. I'm just going to do it real careful, real gentle, and just make sure that I push it in square. Don't hit it too hard because they will damage. And this is already starting to resist going in, which makes me nervous because it makes me have to hit it harder. But we'll keep working on it here. Let's see if we can get it to go. I think what I'm going to do now that I have it in a little bit more solid is I'm going to get a socket that's bigger that will catch the whole outer lip yet still fit inside where that washer goes. So let me go see if I can get a bigger socket. Okay, so I have a 3/4 inch drive socket set, thank goodness, because I was able to find a socket that was bigger than the outside diameter of the seal, yet would fit into the slot that's cut in there for the washer that goes over this. So I'm just going to put this over it, and this is not how one usually uses their 3/4 inch drive ratchet set. And this top end needs to go in more. It's a little tricky. You got to be patient with it and take your time. This is the crude way of doing this, by the way. Just going to check to make sure I got it in all the way. It's in there, it's seated. It could be driven in a little bit more. I'm really not going to worry about it. It's in there, it'll seal it. A little bit of oil collection between, it should be fine. I wish I had like a piece of pipe that would fit in between the seal itself and the outer wall, but I don't have anything that small. That's why you need to have a seal driver kit. If you had one of those, you'd be in. I don't have one, but not everybody does, so what do? You improvise and you do what you can with what you got. What I'm gonna do, I grabbed the washer that goes in over this that protects it, and I'm just gonna put it on there, and I'm just gonna give it a tap and just make sure that's in there. And that seals in. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, it could be driven in a little bit further. If I could find something that will fit in between the seal and the outer wall of that seal, I'll try to drive in a little bit further. But I don't have anything that I can think of right now. I'm going to have to search around the shop. I'll let you know where I get with that. But I can leave it where it is. The seal will work just fine where we have it now. So let's jump over. We're going to do the other side. And at that point, we're putting stuff back in this transmission. We're on the other side. I got the other seal face in. Put a little grease around the outside edge here. I just push it in best I can by hand without having it pop out on me. Be very gentle with them. You don't want to bend them. Then I'm going to take, again, my big 3/4 inch socket. Whoops. This is the tricky part. They like to pop out. And we're just going to take and give that a little gentle tap in. Make sure we're square. Don't hit it too hard. The seals are very delicate. If you bend it, it's all over. You're going to have to replace it. I'm already going in crooked, so I need to straighten it out. Now, that's pretty much in there, and it's pretty flat. I believe this is an 1.25 inch coupling, PVC coupling. That fits just nicely over the seal. I can put it in there. It fits between the outer wall and the seal itself. And this will allow me to drive it all the way in. Whoops, except I just popped out the retainer, which is what we definitely do not want to do. Put it back in. And that seal retainer wants to keep popping out on me. I'll put it back in. Alright. And I do believe we have that puppy all the way in. Get one tap up top here, make sure. Yep. It's in. It's good to go. My retainer's in there. Seals are in. We're at the point now of being clean. Everything here moving forward, we will treat this as if it was, I don't want to say a clean room, but all the area around this transmission is going to remain clean. Any cleaning will be done away from it. We don't want any dust getting into here when we're not working on it. I'm going to cover it with a blanket so that nothing can get in it. Everything moving forward around this unit right now remains clean until we get it closed up and put together. So now that we're ready to start putting things back into this, before we do any of that, we have to do the most important part, and that's put the plugs back in. There are 3 plugs that go in the transmission. There's a small one that goes up front, a medium one that goes here on the side, and the big one that goes in at the back under the power takeoff. I'm going to start with the small one up front. One thing that I did do, if you will take a notice, is I took and I wrapped the plugs with Teflon tape. I cannot tell you how many of these plugs I put in. I know it's tapered pipe plug or tapered pipe thread, but I've put them in and they leak. You put Teflon tape in them, you're not going to get leaks, I promise you. So I put Teflon tape on all the plugs. So the first one goes up front here underneath. And I'll get it started, hopefully. The Teflon tape does make it a little more difficult, but like I said, I don't want a nicely painted tractor that leaks. The reason why I'm putting these plugs in now is that as I assemble this, I know some guys assemble their transmissions dry. I do not. I actually lubricate everything as I put it into the transmission. And because of that, I don't want to be dropping oil all over my floor. So the front one's in. The side one will get in here. I clean the holes out so they go in nice and easy. We'll make sure they're nice and tight as we get them in. And I'm one of those silly people that I have to have my plugs nice and straight when I put them in. Don't hold it against me. And the big one, the back one, is the most important one because this is the one that's at the lowest point of the tractor. So we are going to be in a world of hurt if we don't get this plug put in here. And we'll tighten this one up. There we go. All closed up. So thank you for being here with me today. We'll see you next time on All American Tractor Works. Thank you.